Good day. This is Neeraj Dixit, Consulting Editor with Next Big What, and I'm delighted to be joined by Pradeep Nair, the Vice President and Managing Director of VMware India. VMware is set to host its first ever Explore India event, and we are fortunate to have Pradeep with us today to share some insights into the event and what attendees can expect. As the VP and Managing Director of VMware India, Pradeep has extensive experience in driving technology innovation and growth in India, and is really well positioned to share his views on the current state of the technology landscape in the country, as well as VMware's role in shaping the future of technology in India. So Pradeep, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Neeraj, for having us over. It's I haven't had the chance to speak with you on this platform, but really impressed with the work that you do, and I'm really glad for the opportunity.
Thank you. So first, let's get started with the most important thing. VMware is hosting its first ever Explore India event. So tell us a little bit about the background of the event. How significant is this for VMware, and what can attendees expect from it?
Yeah, actually, Neeraj, we're really pumped about getting this event to India. We do explore across the world. We do the flagship one in San Francisco, and then we do a follow-on one in Europe, and another one in APJ. Last that was in Singapore, but it's the first time that we've been able to bring this conference to India, and it's a testament to the work that our customers do in India, the kind of scale that we see in India, the kind of opportunity, the kind of willingness to, or keenness to learn to work in this multi-cloud world that we're living in. So really delighted to have the opportunity to bring all of that innovation, all of that capability to our customers here in India. So yeah, we're doing this for the first time. There's a ton of really interesting content that we've lined up. A lot of our speakers from the industry, from our own firm, CEO Raghuram is here. Every part of our organization is represented here. So lots of very engaging content, lots of customer insights. Many of our customers are joining us on stage, sharing their insight into how they've solved problems using our technology. I'll talk a little bit more about that. And really, it's about building skills. It's the opportunity to network, it's the opportunity to learn from others, it's the opportunity to get hands-on with some of the new stuff that we've announced over the last year. So yeah, I think if you are in the tech industry and you're concerned about how you will drive innovation in a multi-cloud world, I can't think of a better place for you to be next week. So yeah, looking forward to hosting our customers, our partners, a lot of people from across the industry, because this is the multi-cloud mecca. I mean, anybody in that space will be there. Already we have over 10,000 people registered to attend, and things aren't slowing down at all.
Sounds really interesting and exciting. What are you personally most excited about for the event?
Yeah, for me, it's all about what customers are doing. As technology folks, we bring new technology to market, which is fascinating in and by itself. But what really makes it, compelling and satisfying for us is to see the application of technology, right? Tech by itself is fantastic for people who build it, but for us in the markets, it's what I get the greatest joy is using. It's customers using our technology to solve problems, and especially in a country like India, where we have scale like it's not seen in most of the markets. The ability to use technology in completely innovative ways is what really gets me excited. And so a lot of our customers, I mentioned it a little earlier, a lot of our customers are coming to this event and talking about what they've done with our technology. We've made a whole bunch of announcements all through the year. Very recently at Mobile World Congress, we announced a bunch of new capabilities in the telco edge provider space. So, and customers have taken this and said, okay, here's what VMware has announced, and here's how I'm going to use it to solve a problem that I've been grappling with for a while. And so, to me, that's the most exciting part. Having customers stand up on stage and say, hey, here's what I've done. Here's this unique problem that I was struggling with, and here is how I applied technology to solve a problem. And especially in India, when customers do this, we sometimes leapfrog, right? We solve problems that it's not like, hey, this is how the West used to do it. Indian customers find ways to solve problems in uniquely Indian ways, and that's what's really exciting about what we can do here. And so look at, we have a spectrum of customers here, right? So we have large enterprise customers, we have startups coming up, who doing completely new, solving problems with, not tied down by legacy, not tied down by what's happened before, applying technology in really creative ways. And so having the opportunity to bring our customers together, having them learn from each other, having them interact with each other, network with each other, yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
Lovely. And speaking of solving problems, one of the focus areas of the event is to help accelerate cloud transformation. So from that standpoint,
Right.
how does Explore India fit into the picture, and what does it offer specifically?
Yeah. So if you look at cloud adoption, right, and cloud is almost like it's a buzzword now, and it's something
Sure.
that people kind of take for granted. And if you're not doing cloud, then what are you doing? But it's as you and that's the overarching theme maybe. But as you get into a little bit of the details, right, as you start to peel the onion around cloud adoption, you see a few trends, right? So um, in India and in many parts of the world, most of the initial spike in cloud adoption was when people wanted to launch customer-facing mobile apps that provided some level of customer service. So we went to a particular cloud provider, maybe AWS, maybe Azure, and hey, here's a new customer-facing application that I want to launch, and it needs massive scale, right? And so we saw that in India too, right? So that's something that people start with. You have the ability to use services that are provided by that particular cloud provider and scale it out really fast. You get the agility and scale really quickly. And so that's what people started with. So people said, hey, I'm going to go cloud first. And that worked really well. But over time, then people started to kind of say, okay, one cloud is not enough, because innovation is not only a prerogative of one particular cloud provider. Innovation happens from everywhere. And so people want to use kind of horses for courses. So we're saying, hey, for instance, if you're doing a lot of, if you have a big Microsoft Office workload, Azure is a natural place for you to go to for collaboration and things like that. If you needed some analytics, you went to maybe Google. Although everybody offers, everybody has offerings in these spaces, but people kind of picked and chose. Okay, here's what I want. And so right now, as we talk to our customers, most of our customers, at least 70% of our customers, have at least two clouds, and some of them have three. And so from a place where you started with, where said, hey, I'd go to one cloud provider and they will provide pretty much everything we need. So it was, in the initial, it was a centralizing force. Now what we seem to be building is individual cloud silos, right? Which work very well within themselves. But it's difficult to interoperate with. You have specific skill requirements for each of these. You have you don't have the ability to manage policy consistently across all these clouds. So a lot of things that looked very attractive on day one, as it reached a certain scale, creates problems of complexity, creates problems of availability of talent, about skills. And so people went best of breed, and now we're saying, hey, I'm dealing with some kind of chaos where I have clouds, but I'm dealing with a little bit of a zoo, right? And so now customers are starting to dial this back a bit, and especially in India, where people have said cost is a significant factor, not because not because funding is constrained or business is slowing down, because that's not really the case yet in the enterprise space. You see some of that on the startup side, but in the enterprise space, that's really not the constraint. But a lot of our customers are saying, hey, I serve. So if you take a major bank, you will serve some very high net worth individuals, but you'll also serve somebody who just has a Jan Dhan account, right? And so your cost structure should be able to scale across all of these. So India is not, monolithic. India has, many different layers as you unpeel it. And so cost of operations has been fundamental to most Indian enterprises. And so as you start scaling up cloud, they also hit some cost issues, saying, hey, how do I optimize? Because it's very easy to lose sight of the cost curve, because you consume more and more services, and suddenly you're saying, hey, my costs are going out of the window, so to speak. So our customers are coming back and saying, I need to deal with all of this cost, complexity, lack of talent. And so they're looking for somebody to help them make sense of this multi-cloud world that we live in. And so essentially, people are now saying cloud first is been great, but what I really need to be is cloud smart. So how do I pick the right cloud for the right application? How do I make sure I maintain consistency? I manage costs. I still drive innovation, right? So it's not that I have to forgo something that I had, but I want all of these things. But I also want a whole bunch of governance and some other customers that are in regulated environments also have concerns about, hey, data sovereignty. How do I maintain control or oversight over the data that I'm generating for my customers? And so this shift from being cloud first to wanting cloud smart is the journey that most of my customers are on, and VMware is uniquely positioned to make sense of, because we're not religious. We're not for me, cloud is great, but I'm not religious about this cloud provider or the other. We work very well with every cloud provider in the market, and we are able to help our customers manage this complexity, go on this journey, which is unique to their particular situation. I'm not saying, hey, every customer has the same journey. I'm saying I'll help you pick the right cloud combination, the right cloud deployment, the right cloud environment for your particular situation. And so that's what our customers are excited about, and that's what they're coming to VMware to learn. So multi-cloud is the world that we live in, and if you want to make optimize that journey of yours, then you come to VMware, you come to VMware Explore, and you learn from us, you learn from how your peers are doing this in the industry, and that's the opportunity that we have next week.
That's very interesting. Since you mentioned India, and you also spoke, I think you addressed a little bit of my next question. But since India has been seeing rapid growth in technology, both in cloud and otherwise, in terms of adoption over the last decade, is apart from what you already mentioned, is VMware positioning itself? How is VMware positioning itself to meet some of the newer, more unique needs and challenges of Indian customers? And what role does India play in VMware's global strategy?
So in terms of what we do with customers, the Indian customers in many ways also deal with the same challenges as we see in other parts of the world. What I alluded to earlier, which is this, if you look at what's happened over the last year in the West, in the other developed markets, you'd see there's a certain level of caution that's come up. There are some headwinds in terms of the business outlook. So you've seen customers pulling back, being more cautious about spending. And like I said, not all of that is translated in quite the same way to India here. Certainly not so much in the enterprise space. Our banks, our governments, our large enterprises are bullish about the near term. They see the opportunity, they see growth. We will likely be amongst the fastest growing large economies in the world. But this idea that you have to have costs under control is something that is intrinsically Indian. I mean, because of the customers that we serve, we have many Indias, and our large enterprises serve all of them. So we don't have the luxury to just focus on one niche and serve them well. We have to be able to build a structure that is optimized across multiple segments of the market, and that's uniquely Indian. Nobody else does scale like India does. I mean, UPI, you've seen the numbers there. The growth there is, the individual transactions might not be, very high value, but the volume is massive. And as a technology provider, one of our previous CEOs said this: there's scale, and then there is India scale, right? So if you have technology that works and scales in India, it's bulletproof. It'll work pretty much anywhere in the world, right? Because of the unique constraints that we operate in. And that's historically been the case, but it also has a very young and very technologically savvy customer set that's coming up. And so many of them are experiencing technology, the internet, for instance. I mean, back in the day when I was growing up, internet was something that you had to use a dial-up modem and experience it on your desktop. I mean, you probably did not see any of those. And if kids these days experience, many of the younger generation, many of the people in India that are experiencing the internet for the first time are seeing that on a mobile phone, right? And so you have a set of consumers, set of customers who are unencumbered by the past, who are are willing to adopt technology in fundamentally new ways, who don't have a set of legacy mindsets that we need to address. So that's the opportunity and that's a challenge. So for technology providers like us, if we solve something in India, then we find we take that to the rest of the world. Like for instance, you've seen UPI, right? It's taken off in India, and now NPCI is taking that use case to other countries across the world because we found a way to solve it in fundamentally different ways, unencumbered by some of the systems that some of the so-called developed economies have had to deal with. And so that's what's exciting about India, and that's what we are set up to solve in India. So for us, India is not just a market where we sell to customers and serve them. It's also a place where we build technology. So if you look at our research and development teams, we have now, India is the largest site for VMware worldwide. I mean, we have more engineers now creating products in India than arguably in any other part of the world. And so that's a function of the talent that we have here. That is a testament to the depth and capability that we find here. But it's also a function of the market itself. What we're used to in India, what our engineers are exposed to in India, the use cases, their own experience as they consume other products in India is hugely valuable as we build the next generation of products for VMware. So India as a market is fantastic, but India is also a microcosm of VMware across the world. And that's what we look at and do in India. We serve customers in India, and we build products and serve the world from India.
Wonderful. You spoke of the scale of the headcount at VMware India now. Since VMware has been operating in India for over a decade and a half now, since you spoke a little bit about it, but can you tell us a little bit more about the company's journey in India, some of the big milestones achieved, and how VMware plans to continue supporting the growth of tech and multi-cloud landscape in India?
Right. So we started, I think, back in 2008, really focused on R&D, and that's where we started. Because, and like I said, it's not unique to VMware. Just about every tech firm in the industry has, research and development. So did we, but it's really scaled up, and now every part of the company is represented now in India. So we have sales, we have marketing, we have global support. I mean, we support the world from India. We build back office operations out of India that help us, deliver to customers across the world. So customer success, customer support, finance and operations, product development, sales, you name it. India is a microcosm of VMware, and so that's the scale that we've grown from our reasonably humble beginnings back in 2008, and we continue to invest. A few years back, I think back in 2018, we announced a $2 billion investment. Our CEO was here, met with the Prime Minister, announced a $2 billion investment over the next 5 years in India, and we've done that, and we're well ahead of track, and we continue to expand that. We just opened a new facility in Bangalore, expanded a facility in Bangalore a few months back, and we're doubling down on our continued investment in India, because, like I said, what we do, it's not cost, because that's what most companies come to India for, to start with, saying, hey, you have talent that's available at cost structures that are significantly different from other parts of the world. We came for cost, but we stayed for depth and talent and expertise, right? And so the kind of work that we do now here is groundbreaking. I mean, we for our newest parts of our portfolio, we moved a couple of years back into the app modernization space, into the expanded capabilities in the security space, and both of those have core product development happening now out of India. So that's the scale. We started out as in 2008, and now we pretty much are the largest site for VMware across the world. And so that pace shows no sign of slowing down, because what we are able to build, drive innovation out of talent out of India, is unmatched in what we see across most of the markets.
Lovely. That's really interesting, and I think you've given us a really concise as well as detailed background of VMware, as well as what Explore is going to be all about. So Thank you very much, Pradeep. Looking forward to being at the event and covering some of the other aspects of what's going on there. And I hope to bring it to all of our viewers on Next Big What. So thanks again for joining me, and thanks for giving us a rundown of this entire.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, looking forward to having you at Explore, and I really would invite you to speak to our customers, because ultimately that's a testament of what we do. If you're solving problems uniquely, helping customers innovate, launch new services, bring new capability to their customers, that's what gets me back to work every day, right? And that's what's exciting about what we do. And so, I invite you to explore, meet with our customers, meet with our partners, and yeah, tell us what you see. I'm sure your viewers would love to hear from you. So, looking forward to meeting you next week. And once again, thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks, Pradeep. Thanks.